Agricultural Revolution. During the mid-17th and late 19th centuries, the agricultural revolution was the unprecedented increase in agricultural production in Britain due to increases in labor and land productivity. One of the most important innovations of agricultural revolution was the development of Norfolk four-course rotation, which greatly increased crop and livestock yields by improving soil fertility and reducing fallow. Crop rotation is the practice of growing a series of dissimilar types of crops in the same area in sequential seasons to help restore the nutrients and mitigate the buildup of pathogens and pests that often occur when one plant species is continuously cropped. Following a two-field crop rotation system common in the Middle Ages and the three-year three-crop rotation, in the mid-18th century, two British agriculturists, Robert Bakewell and Thomas Coke, introduced selective breeding as a scientific practice and used inbreeding to stabilize certain qualities in order to reduce genetic diversity. Bakewell was also the first to breed the cattle to be used primarily for beef. Certain practices that contributed to a more productive use of land intensified, such as converting some pasture land into arable land and recovering fen land and pastures. Other developments came from Flanders and the Netherlands. The region that became a pioneer in a canal building, soil restoration and maintenance, soil drainage, and land reclamation technology. Finally, water meadows were utilized in the late 16th to 20th century and allowed either pasturing of livestock after they were wintered on hay.
Industrial Revolution. Industrial Revolution is a transition from creating goods by hand to using machineries that introduce novel ways of working and living to the society. This results to lower labor costs, reduction of prices for products, and improved production for the market, which helps them cater a new level of customers. What are the causes of Industrial Revolution? Capitalism. This helped the wealthy individuals to start their own business. Expansion of European imperialism. European countries gained access to important resources by taking over other areas of the world and created large markets to sell goods. Mining resources. Mining of resources such as coal, which were vital to the process of industrialization. Effects of agricultural revolution. This led to an increase of food production and helped increase the population in the European countries, which then created a large workforce in industrial towns and cities. How did Industrial Revolution started? It all started in Great Britain in the late 1700s that enabled Industrial Revolution to begin in textile industry, also with coal and iron, which was important to power and machineries, which lasted until mid-1800s. The second Industrial Revolution took place from mid-1800s to the early 1900s, where large factories and companies began to use more technologies to mass-produce goods. The third Industrial Revolution began in the late 1900s by the spread of automation and digitization through the use of electronics and computers, the invention of the internet, and the discovery of nuclear power. Advancement in telecommunications led the way for widespread globalization, which enabled industries to offshore production to low-cost economies and radicalized business model worldwide. Now that we're in the fourth industrial revolution where digital transformations, AI technologies, and automation continuously developing, what will happen next?
Here are some major figures in agricultural and industrial revolution and their invention. Agricultural revolution, we have Charles Turnip Townsend, an agriculturalist who was a great enthusiast of four-field crop rotation and the cultivation of turnips. Crop rotation in common field system, it helps in lessening soil disintegration and builds soil's richness and harvest yields. Jethro Tull, he was the first to promote the advantages of hoeing cultivated soils. Seed drill, in mechanization, it is a device that sows the seeds per crop by metering out individual seeds, positioning them in the soil, and covering them to a certain average depth. Andrew Mickle was a Scottish mechanical engineer credited in inventing The threshing machine. Threshing machine in mechanization, it is a piece of farm equipment that threshes grains, that is, removes the seeds from the stalks and husks. Joseph Falcambay used new shapes as the basis for the Rotterdam plough, which also covered the moldboard with iron. Rotterdam plough in mechanization, it is a tool or farm implement for initial cultivation of soil in preparation for sowing seed or planting. In the Industrial Revolution, we have Alexander Graham Bell. During the American Industrial Revolution, he invented the first functional telephone in 1876. The first telephone was installed in the U.S. Capitol building in 1880. William Cockrell was an English inventor and manufacturer who brought the Industrial Revolution to present-day Belgium. John Cockrell, he was to become one of the largest iron-making and machinery complexes in Europe. Wool carding and spinning machine. They constructed the first wool carding and wool spinning machine on the continent.